All right, so I just want to speak on, Shalom. I just want to speak on pretty much my thoughts upon um, a power outage that took place um, in my area, of residence. Um, as I did a lesson on, as you see right here, suffering the ruckus of salvation, which was done May 19th, uh, 2025, and it was crazy. Said blackout in my area, complete blackout in my area, you know, because there was no lights, obviously no lights coming from anybody's house, and it was nighttime. It started as the sun was going down on the Shabbat, and on top of that, through the Spirit, the Lord didn't have the stars out or the sun. You couldn't even see it, and so it was completely pitch black dark, and it was to the point it was reminiscent of the account to me in the scriptures. We was in Egypt making the Exodus when the Lord's bringing all those plagues. I believe it was the night when he killed the firstborn, and it said how dark it was, you know. So it made me think of that. So, and it was crazy. And it was out for some hours. But while I'm talking about that, I would find out after I finished the lesson, and post it, that this happened. An elder brother, in the UK, the elder brother in the UK had said breaking news, power out in Scotland, the same time. Like, and it was, obviously it was crazy, on the same, and I'm speaking on this power that went out plenty of times, so forth and so on. We know the power will go out, but it was just something about it, and so I had to speak on it. Like it was next level. It just seemed widespread, like, over the top to me. And then finding this out that he was dealing with, brothers over in the UK dealing with the same thing at the same time, it led me to think, dang, is this a coincidence? Like, what, is this something that Elite's doing? Is this the Lord work, or, obviously, but is he using the elites to do this? Because what cloaked that is the fact that it was, a crazy thunderstorm, which I'm not sure if it was there or not. I don't believe he said, but nonetheless, it was so crazy to me where I had to repost this video, you know? As you see. All right. And like I said, when I found that out, it just happened to be thoughts I was already having, like, as far as what it caused me to think. Like, I was already thinking before seeing that, like, oh, dang, is the Lord, is this a, something that the elites are doing, the international bankers are doing, I was already thinking that, that happened to already come across my mind. Like, it was just crazy. Like, what's the chances? What's the coincidence? Or, the Lord just completely bringing the heat. But nonetheless, when you go into this, I'm gonna hit play on these videos, and you're gonna see that this is something possible. And it is fair and it makes sense, logical to think, you know, or being of discernment to think that these people are doing it. You know, Esau, top Esau, you know, are inducing things like this for a bigger purpose. All right. So I'm gonna hit play on these videos so you can see. But before I do, let me just give all praises to the Most High. Call Halam La Yahweh Bashmi Al Shai Wahara Kakodash. That's all praise to the Most High Yahweh, who people call God, whose name is Yahweh in the original Hebrew tongue, and the name of his son Yahweh Shai, whose name is Yahweh Shai, but people call him Jesus. All right. Much respect, salutations, teefully, and biblical love. Many blessings and peace to the elder apostles and elder bishops of the over the Great Millstone Church, and to the rest of the Akim. All right, on down, pushing this true faith, this gospel, this true gospel across the four corners of the globe. All right. So before I hit play on this, I'm gonna just say I believe it's just some, you know, Ordo Ab stuff going on. All right. They're doing test runs and trying to create something based off people's response to this chaos. All right. But anyway.
I'm just waiting at this point for anybody to follow up with me to tell me what's going on.
And now an 11 News investigates exclusive. After BGE cut off a woman's power without notice and never explained why, a state agency warns residents to know their rights.
And that agency says BGE could be fined as much as $750,000.
Investigative reporter Tolly Taylor joins us now live. And Tolly, this all started when her electricity was shut off last month.
Yeah, our reporting finds several twists and turns in this story, but the end result is one Brooklyn neighborhood renter had her power cut off more than 30 days ago, and she still doesn't know why or whether she'll be fined for something that dates back to before she moved in. Danielle Brookhart returned home from work the evening of February 26th to an unwelcome surprise.
My house was pitch black, and I noticed all the other neighbors still had lights.
The electricity in the row home she rents shut off, with this BGE door hanger the only clue as to why. Before the power was cut, her doorbell camera showed this BGE crew working behind her row home.
The nights have been in the 20s, so I couldn't stay here. I had to board my dog. It's hundreds of dollars of food that I'm out now.
After 8 days without power and without an explanation, someone from BGE came to turn her power back on. When she called the number on the BGE door hanger,
she did indicate that there was some sort of an issue with the meter, but that was all she was able to say.
Brookhart eventually got someone from the Maryland Office of the People's Counsel on the phone, a state agency that advocates for residents and holds utilities accountable. The OPC said BGE investigative notes indicated her power was cut due to an unauthorized connection dating back 8 years.
And real quick, that's not true. They can't hold nobody accountable because these electricity utility companies, they ultimately depend on the elites, the international bankers, who basically, if you will, control them because they rely, the elite bankers, they run on, they own all the gas, all right, the oil, all right, the power source in which these power plants or generator plants that bring forth and ultimately distribute the electricity out through the grid, you know, of America. Most of the electricity companies, they all got generator power plants, and all those power plants, guess what they run off? The oil or the gas that the elites own. All right. You're talking about some of them. So they don't run nothing. And these people talking are puppets. They don't have no clue how deep this go. They don't even know who really own what. They have no clue. It's a monopoly on all these things. All right? So once you understand that and know these facts, you can see it. Because we know the earth, you know, like it says in Job 9:24, is given into the hand of the wicked. All right? Now I got a scripture I'm already holding, so I'm gonna wait. But let's let play on the rest of this.
Before she began renting. The notes also indicated BGE was preparing to fine her more than $1,000.
I just don't understand how they can do this to somebody in the middle of winter with no explanation. There's a $0 balance on my account.
It turns out
Because they don't run nothing. If they get told to shut it down, that's it. And because ultimately the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, one of the most wicked Edomites you can think of owns the top gas provider, oil provider in America, which is John Rockefeller, the Rockefeller family. You know, and not only in the U.S. but in the world. Most of the top gas providers, he owned both of them. All right, that family owns both of them. And if you knew who this was, which you should definitely know upon this video I just last did, dealing with Sleepy Joe Biden. I updated the title. Joe Biden catching cancer off or after pushing the same system, the system of his bosses, you know, aka the elites, the elite bankers, which is a system that was used to actually induce cancer. He ended up catching it. And who set that system up? You know? Obviously, the elite banker, but who? An elite who? But who? Specifically who? So you can go check the channel out, you know, and watch that. All right? And it's on you if you're in the dark, because the Lord is putting vessels, he's set vessels up, brothers up, start the elder apostles on down, the elder brothers, vessels that's pouring out, you know, the needed information. You know? But anyway, man.
state law allows BGE and other utilities to cut power due to an unauthorized connection without providing any notice. But the OPC's David Lapp says after that happens, utilities are responsible for explaining why. More than 30 days after her power was cut, Brookhart says she still has not received an explanation from BGE. In this scenario where BGE does not provide that explanation, what's the penalty?
The commission could impose monetary penalties for a violation.
Do you have a ballpark on how much those fines could be?
The commission can impose a civil penalty.
Could and can. Could impose, can impose. All right? These people are puppets. Some of them know what's going on. A lot of them only to a degree. But majority don't have really a damn clue what's going on.
Not exceeding $25,000 for each violation for each day that the violation persists.
Brookhart filed a complaint with the Maryland Public Service Commission, and while Lapp says he can't comment on Brookhart's specific case, as of Friday, that fine would amount to more than $750,000.
The commission has imposed.
You're going to find people that run everything. They own everything. The whole life is ran by, you know, a few people, and they all related. And they all got one common goal. And they don't give a damn about anybody that may be of their race, but not of their pedigree, if you will, you know, or circle. They don't give a damn about these lower level elites. Edomites. this Esau world, he do what the hell he want to do. All right. As far as the Heavenly Father, within the boundaries the Heavenly Father give him and gave him.
Fines for violations of its regulations in the past.
In the process of this ordeal, Brookhart realized there are complications with her account. In a statement to 11 News Investigates, a spokesperson for BGE says the utility can't comment on specific customer issues, but notes generally that unauthorized connections are a big problem in Baltimore and
And Exelon is a fossil fuel or simply an electricity company that gets that generates their electricity off fossil fuel, aka gas, oil, coals, all of the resources that the elites own, Rockefeller owns, man. Anyway.
can be extremely dangerous. Adding in part, disconnecting an unauthorized connection is not the same as termination of service. If there is no active service account, there is no service to terminate. Brookhart, meanwhile, just wants to understand what's going on.
No phone calls, no emails, no notes on my account, nothing. I'm more than willing to get this figured out and work with BGE to get this figured out.
And David Lapp says OPC may consider pushing legislation to specify exactly how long utilities have to explain disconnections to customers. If you have concerns,
All a setup. It's all a setup. It's all a ploy. It's all to lull you to sleep. This coming from the media, which means medium, and these are just puppets hired by the company, It's the direct messaging from you, direct deception. Direct messaging to you from the elites, direct deception to you from the elites, and that's it, man. It's they plotting behind the scenes, and this happened last month. So you have cases of this, So maybe it was the power just went out here because of the thunderstorm, but at the same time, completely up across the the waters. Well, this has already been a push thing by brothers that, these power grids gonna give out, they're gonna be attacked. Esau just can shut them down. And again, this is very much possible, and more and is something that can happen, as you hear. Especially when you know who is ruling the earth and who's behind these specific things. And then with knowing prophecy, the Lord said there's going to be famines. Another key component to famine happening is, like the lady said, her power went out. There go all her food in the refrigerator. You see what I'm saying? So.
Hey, despite the high temperatures, BGE will shut off power in parts of the city tonight. The outages will allow crews to perform reliability work that can't be safely performed on live circuits. They may last anywhere from an hour to several hours, so if you live there, you're not too happy about this. Hey, despite the high temperatures,
So I believe Esau running tests. All right, again, they create, they figure out their plans, the new rules and new world they want to create. The new conduct they want going on off of creating chaos. They figure out how to get it done, and perfect that plan through creating chaos. Because, they'll just throw some shit out here like, okay, let's just do this because we really want to, have them like this. So let's see how they respond and blah, blah, blah. And then it helps perfect what they may want to do or help them see what they can do and just, get tweaks in it. See if they're able to do certain shit, but
BGE will shut off power in parts.
Same company, right?
Hey, despite the high temperatures, BGE will shut off power in parts of the city tonight. The outages will allow crews to perform reliability work that can't be safely performed on live circuits. They may last anywhere from an hour to several hours, so if you live there, you're not too happy about this.
You just gotta question stuff like this, all right?
It's fun.
They gotta perform reliability work. This is a planned power outage. But you damn hide the truth in plain sight with the damn devil. He'll tell you the truth and tell you a lie. You know? He'll tell you the truth to hide the truth. But anyway, we be quiet.
Will allow crews to perform reliability work that can't be safely performed on live circuits. They may last anywhere from an hour to several hours, so if you live there, you're not too happy about this.
It's frustrating because if you have to work the next day or you have things that you need to do within your home and then you have to leave your home for inconvenience because no power, it's frustrating, especially if you don't have nowhere else to go, you just stuck.
Well, there were some outages in the morning. Power has since been restored. A midday outage was canceled due to the weather. 2 evening outages are still scheduled to take place, and affected customers were notified by letter in advance.
This is Psalms 31 and verse 4. It says, "Pull me out of the net that they have laid privily for me, for thou art my strength." Let me read it again. Psalms 31 and 4. "Pull me out the net that they have laid privily for me, for thou art my strength, for thou art my strength." So, you know, if it wasn't for the Lord putting us on game, we wouldn't know what's going on, man. You know? We'd be destroyed. We'd be taken by these people, you know? So, obviously, the Lord's giving us a heads up. He don't want that to happen because He's giving us a heads up. He's giving us the drop. He's giving us the steps of hidden things. He's giving the eyesight to see. You know, this is Sirach 42, and I'm gonna start at verse 16. The sun that giveth light, looketh upon all things, right? Because it tells you in Job that you see if I can get that. I ain't read that in a minute. This is Job real quick. 5 and like 16. It says 14. Let me see. Yeah, 14. I'm gonna start at 12. It says, let's start at 11. You know, I'll start at 10. Who giveth rain upon the earth? What's the rain? The spiritual rain. The scriptures, the doctrine, the prophecies, the things going on, the things that need to be revealed, like the devil. You know, what his plans are and what's going to happen. You know, and it's the fact that it's going to be a lot of people duped. He's going to try to dupe a lot of people. He is going to dupe a lot of people. And ultimately, he's going to be duped because the Lord is going to, you know, intervene in the midst of it all, you know, so he won't be able to accomplish his goals, which is to take, you know, you brothers and sisters out, Israel, the nation of Israel. Everybody else casualties, you know. These elites want to take everybody out, but they definitely want to get, because they, you know, they all about themselves and I'm ruling forever. So if they know, don't you think if they know, you know, it's a people that, one, they know who they are, and they know, okay, obviously they Esau, they the Edomites, they know their brother Jacob has to rule. But see, with that being the case with these people, because they got all the money, they got everything, they got the whole earth, it doesn't stop them in their pursuit of getting everything, you know, having the fatness of the earth, you know, and trying to do everything they can to keep it in their family, bob everything, monopolize everything. So don't you think with them doing that, in spite of them knowing who they are, hence knowing what they ultimate destination is, that's basically them showing. Don't you think they basically have it in their heart to try to prevent that, to try to take out, you know, the true heir, Salaki. You know, don't you think they gonna take Jake out simply, you know, take out everything, you know, they looking at things that could stop that from happening, that could prevent that from happening. Don't you think they know they need to take the Israelites out? Because they heart set on the poor, as you see, all these come. That's not happening, you know, that's not being publicized to you to be happening amongst, you know, the rich, if you will, you know, but the poor. And ain't no such thing as no dang middle class. All right? I'm some of the main people in debt because they trying to keep up with the Joneses. But anyway, the point, the Joneses, you know, the dang, you know, it being a rat race. But anyway, man, the Lord, he will intervene in the midst of all of that and stop him from being able to take Israel out to where he'll rule forever by giving his eyesight, his truth, his enlightenment, you know, through the Spirit, you know, by the shedding of the blood of his son to the elect of Israel, you know, and ultimately everybody would be one, because it's clear to see what's going on. Everything's fishy, man. You know, this devil saying to be playing with the weather, all type of stuff, man. So I ain't saying that's what happened, but it was some of my spirit just made me think this naturally, and then the elder brother happened to bring out the power outage to a massive, you know, to an unprecedented level, was basically, if you will, you know, was a precursor to, you know, one, if anything, a blackout to an unprecedented level going on. So I'm like, man, what's the chances of this? What's the coincidence? What, you know? Now, obviously, it's been storms passing through, you know, the regions and whatnot, you know, tornadoes and so forth. But it's just, you got to keep your eye on this, man, you know, because the damn devil, he one of the biggest tornadoes, you know. He's some of the biggest destruction coming through. You know, you need to keep your eye on itself. But anyway, this is Job 5 and keep this going. 5 and 10 continue. Who giveth rain upon the earth? See that same earth that these people got their hands on, right? The elite bankers, and send it waters upon the fields. What's the fields? Us. All right. It's a lot of jakes that need to come forth and out of the darkness, you know, and come into this truth, the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, coming into, you know, enlightenment, all right? Come out of the traps. It says to set up on high those that be low. See that? The poor. That those which mourn may be exalted to safety. Exactly. Through obviously that rain being given. And obviously showing you the fields is the low. See that? The lowly. The valley of the shadow of death. You know? Slocky, the valley, the valley of the dry bones, you know, alluding to Ezekiel, the 37th chapter. You know, the Lord said, can these bones live? Yeah, when he, you know, when this word is spoke to him, you know, it's going to stop Esau in his tracks, because he just does these things to see what he can get away with. He did these things to see how would you people react. Could be an order out of chaos. He could actually use this time to just start doing power outages because he knows there's, you know, certain weather going on, you know. But anyway, so you just want to be, you know, circumspect, man, vigilant for your adversary, the devil. See, you know, trying to catch a goofy. He said trap setups and people falling right into him. It says he disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. See, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is carried headlong. They meet with darkness in the daytime, and grope in the noonday as in the night. All right. So, but he saveth the poor from the sword, from their mouth, and from the hand of the mighty. And the mighty will be who? These elite bankers. You know, these elite Edomites that own everything. They got a plan to just take Jake completely out with tons of people. You know, but they can't get the elect. So this is Iraq 42, and it says 16, the sun that giveth light looketh upon all things, and the work there is, and the work thereof is full of the glory of the Lord. The Lord hath not given power to the saints to declare all his marvelous works, which the Almighty Lord firmly settled, that whatsoever is might be established for his glory. He seeketh out the deep and the heart, and considereth their crafty devices. And that's the spirit ultimately that the Lord gave us, putting upon us to where we'll do that. It says, for the Lord knoweth all that may be known, and beholdeth the signs of the world. He declareth, see that, the things that are past. So he tells us these things through the Spirit, through his word, and for it to come. You know, it says, and revealeth the steps of hidden things. See that? So going back to the book of Psalms in the 31st chapter. All right, got two more after this. Psalms 31:4. Pull me out of the net that they have privily laid for me, for thou art my strength. And that's exactly what is going on. That's what's taking place. All right. We see through all this crap. Into thy hand I commit my spirit. Thou hast redeemed me. All this is able to be to where we enlighten on, you know, these matters, you know, of this magnitude through the Spirit, all by the Lord shedding his blood. O Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, God of truth, I have hated them that regard lying vanities, but I trust in Yahweh. All right, so I got one more after this. This is Psalm 64:4. I'm going to start at verse 1. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. Hear my voice, O Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, in my prayer. Preserve my life from the fear of the enemy. All right, because when you know who these people are and who really running stuff, who owns stuff, and what they ideologies are, what they stand for, man. And then you know this is, you know, it's the real deal. This is what the Lord was talking about. You know, you see these things, you know, exactly for what they are, man. On the the actual scale, you should see them on, because the Lord telling you, like, yeah, this is it. You know, because some people worry about things the Lord ain't even talking about. You know, things too high for them, but the things they need to be completely having an eye on, concerned with, you know, ultimately right in front of them, or trying to be hidden at least, or hidden in plain sight. They not even looking at. They missing. You know, it's a plan that these elites have for you know, you people, and primarily you Jakes. But y'all gonna see, they want people to take each other out. You know, they plan gonna fail miserably. They don't have enough time to truly do what they really want to do. But all these things that the Lord said that's gonna happen, like I said, as far as famines, so forth and so on. I just gotta get that one real quick. This is gonna be my only prophecy one, Lord will, through the Spirit. It's gonna be able to be through these people. This is Psalm 66, Salakia. 2nd Ezra 16 and 18. It says, let's start at let's start at 8. Let's start at 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? All right. When the devil coming down having a great wrath, because you know he had but a short time. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings. The beginning of famine and great death. The main way that famine gonna be able to come forth, a key factor to that, X factor to that is gonna be through these power outages, man. That the devil himself is inducing and controls. They control your electricity. They could just cut it off like that. There go all your food, and then go everybody's food in the neighborhood, and there go their comfort, and then there go great death, whether they dying from food or dying from wilding out because they ain't got food. It says the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, because it's gonna get they gonna roll this snowball that's gonna roll out of control. This big snowball that's ultimately gonna roll everywhere and roll back onto their ass. That's what they don't get. They some dumb devils, but nonetheless, this is who you dealing with. Are people willing to do it? That's rolling it right now. It says the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Because the angels not gonna be scared. So it ain't talking about those powers. It's talking about the so-called elites, the so-called powers that be, as people like to say. So again, right? Psalm 64 and 1 to the chief musician, a psalm of David. Hear my voice, O Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, in my prayer. Preserve my life from the fear of the enemy, right? Because love gonna wax cold, the love of many. Esau about to stop playing with people, It says hide me from they just gonna come out with it, man. Because he already see we know everything going on. He being exposed left and right. All his hidden things is being sought out, man. We see you devils, man. We see everything you damn devils doing, It ain't no point in acting like we don't see it, because they gonna come, do what they do regardless. This is Isaiah 1:6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Through the Spirit. Through the Lord poured His Spirit upon all flesh, but start with the prophets, through the men, the apostles, the teachers that the Lord set up. The Spirit being back in the children of Israel on earth. Set up to deliver the message, the true message of the Heavenly Father to the people on earth. America going down and the Esau going down because he the damn devil. And they all going to change, man. And he going to do all these things. He going to try to go down with a fight. It says verse 2, hide me from the secret counsel, Psalm 64 and 2, from the secret counsel of the wicked. They plot right now from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. Yeah, they rising up. They going to try to fight back. It's an insurrection. They outraged. They pissed. They got to do all this extra stuff. Who wet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot arrows, even bitter words. Right. The shit going to get real draconian. They ain't going, they going to come forth. You hearing the news, they sending these dumb anchormen, these puppets. They don't know what's going on. Them people, regular people working a 9 to 5, basically. And all the puppets is in front of you too. But that's a whole nother lesson. That they may shoot in secret at the perfect. So they'll say one thing, which means this. They sub-tweeting. They gaslighting, if you like to say, however you like to say it. They, being indirect. They using codes and saying encrypted shit. It says that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. They coming forth like they cutting you. Well, we gotta, do exclusive work on your things and, your power. And your power just can't be on for the type of work we're gonna do. And they get data to see how Jake react. If Jake stay in the house, Jake leave, Jake wild out, how many complaints they get, so forth and so on. These companies are under the control of the elites, man. These electricity companies. Because most of them, again, run off fossil fuel, gas, oil. That's what they own. A top elite own that. It says, suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of land snares privily. They say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search. This is my point. Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart. See, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. See that? So they already built to be weird, to go all, doing a bunch of extra, curricular activity, experimenting on to crack people's brains and see how stuff, they already built like that to be a type of people like that. They always meddling, trying to change weather control lists, testing on you, set up the projects, see how you respond. But not only that, they have a heart that's desperately wicked like everybody else, but that's said to be deep. See that? It's deep. The heart, their imaginations, they're madmen. So you can't put nothing past, these days, man. And with knowing, or these people in these days, with knowing who these people are that run the earth. That's what I'm talking about. Psalms 11, these Edomites, Psalms 11, and this is the last scripture, verse 2. For lo, the wicked bend their bow, they make ready their arrow upon a string, that they may privily shoot at the upright in heart. Exactly. So they're going to do things to try to blind you and take you out because you know what's going on, to try to hurt me and get you up out of here. But that's all I had. I'm going to say, call them like how Basham Yahweh Shah, take it for what it's worth. Not saying it's this, it's just, something to think about. Be circumspect on. Shalom.